Here today for Gallery Watch at the Gombok Gallery for work by Robert Juniper. It's a celebration exhibition, amazing array of work, which is celebrating this iconic West Australian who has work around the world and is an important artist for Australia and Western Australia. Robert Juniper.
Absolute celebration exhibition for us. The family has a collection of my dad's work, and we've also borrowed some works that we don't own to add to the exhibition, because we wanted to show a body of Dad's work spanning a career of over 60 years, and you'll see in this exhibition one of his first paintings, which is Evening Walk, 1951, up until probably 2007, 2008.
As I said, it's really nice to see such a breadth from as I said, there's paintings there from the 50s sort of right through, and that's really lovely to see it all displayed. I guess in a lot of sort of exhibitions, I suppose it's a bit like a retrospective in that way, and I think retrospectives are nice because you do get that sort of breadth of work displayed. So
it's a joyful explosion of work, and it I suppose illustrates quite a few different things about Dad's life and Dad's passions, and you'll see in here Dad's passion for fishing and Dad's passion for the Australian landscape, particularly the outback and the desert sort of landscapes.
Flying over the Midwest and that sort of thing definitely looks like Dad's paintings, because he had a lot of his landscape work is sort of from an aerial perspective. Flying over the landscape, you definitely see where he was coming from.
Robert Juniper was such a wonderful West Australian artist and landscape artist of the Australian and West Australian landscape in particular. And I think it's wonderful that so many of his works have been brought together in the one exhibition, so that so many people can come and see this really important retrospective of his work.
Bob was very much centred in WA in his art. And also he's very central to our history, our cultural history from the 50s, late 40s onwards. And so the localness of it has been very important. People don't really understand that that's such an important sort of thing that we can all inherit that cultural history from the 50s, when these young artists like Bob first brought modernism to WA. I mean, Bob is very important. There's an early painting in the other room, which is the Last Supper, which you can see is it's quite simple and realistic in one way, but it's been abstracted with solid blocks of colour and broken up and so on, which is a young artist grappling with modernism, with the modern way of painting, of looking at things.
Well, I paint and I sculpt. I'm better known for making sculptures, but for the last 7 years or so I've been painting and exhibiting paintings.
As you work, do thoughts of your father come into your mind?
Well, naturally, yeah, of course. He is probably, if not the most celebrated, certainly one of the most celebrated artists that Western Australia has ever produced, and I feel very proud of him. I think the state does too. So I think it's marvellous to be able to put on a show like this posthumously.
Thank you so much for coming. I represent the Juniper family, which is myself. You'll see his influence by Paul Klee in a work called The Last Supper, which is in the room a couple of rooms over, which is about a 1958 painting, I think, and I remember that sort of style from when I was a child. You'll see quite a few prints. Dad really enjoyed producing works to be made into serigraph prints, and you'll see walls of those where the colours are just joyful and vibrant and almost leap off the walls. You'll see Dad's sense of humour and his irreverence. In Bluebird 2 is a slightly irreverent painting, and some of the other ones are too. Dad always liked to include visual jokes in his paintings, some of which we know and some of which were secret to him. But they're very evocative of his humour and his life and his loves. And so it's a joy for us to come in here and see all of these works hanging where they should be, and be able to enjoy them with other people. I hope you'll agree with me that the work just speaks for itself mostly. It speaks of his joy of life, of his love of fishing, his love of people, his love of dogs, his love of drawing and his incredible skill at drawing, painting, and all of the design work that he did. The influence of Paul Klee, and that you can see in The Last Supper, which is in the third room over there, which is just such a beautiful painting and evocative of those years. Several people have said to me that they can feel Bob here, and so can I. And that is one of the reasons that we were very keen to have this exhibition in this gallery with people who knew Bob's work, who knew him very well and knew how to exhibit the work. I think you'll agree that Ron and Terry have put an enormous amount of love and care into this exhibition, and I'm incredibly grateful to you for that. Thank you so much.
We had the exhibition planned, and we asked Bob, I said, do you want, because when you get a stroke, those sort of things come unannounced, it just sort of happens. And Bob did have a very strong work ethic. Bob always worked. So there was no problem about Bob continuing with the exhibition. Well, we weren't sure whether his ability to work with one hand, his left hand was sort of in the sling. Actually, in the book, it's actually a photograph of Bob working in my studio, what was actually originally a triple garage, where he was able to work from the wheelchair and also have his dog with him, and he lived with us for a while. Just because everything was on a ground level, so he had two wheelchairs, one to get in around the house and one for working wheelchair where he worked from. So so we asked Bob, said, do you want to postpone the exhibition? And he says, oh God, no. He said, we made a commitment, we've got to go through with this because, he said, otherwise what am I living for? Terry has been looking after Bob's practice following Mandy, and we have continued a really good relationship with Mandy and also with Bob right up to the time he was passed away. He used to still come here, although the management somehow shifted. But the work that you find in this gallery, most of it is pre-2004, and in all those decades that we represented Bob here, we had a wonderful relationship with Bob. Personally, I did a lot of work with Bob in sculpture and so on, with a mutual respect and understanding. Other than that, we miss you.
A couple more words. Thanks, Ron. A number of you have been with us on this journey. This exhibition is one step on a journey that's been somewhat challenging for the family, but also engaging in many ways. Many people have helped us on this journey. I will mention John Easter and Stephen Davies in particular, because without you, this would not be happening. I would really like now to propose a toast to Robert Juniper, wherever you are, presumably in that great studio in the sky. I hope you're happy. I hope you're having a good time. May you rest in peace, but may you live forever in these and other beautiful works that you made. To Robert Juniper. Thank you.